Let me sing for my beloved my love song concerning his vineyard. My beloved had a vineyard on a very fertile hill. He dug it and cleared it of stones, and planted it with choice vine. He built a watchtower in the midst of it, and hewed out a wine vat in it. He expected it to yield grapes, but it yielded wild grapes. And now, inhabitants of Jerusalem and people of Judah, judge between me and my vineyard. What more was there to do for my vineyard that I have not done in it? When I expected it to yield grapes, why did it yield wild grapes? And now I will tell you what I will do to my vineyard. I will remove its hedge, and it shall be devoured. I will break down its wall, and it shall be trampled down. I will make it a waste. It shall not be pruned or hoed, and it shall be overgrown with briars and thorns. I will also command the clouds that they rain no rain upon it. For the vineyard of the Lord of hosts is the house of Israel, and the people of Judah are his pleasant planting. He expected justice, but saw bloodshed, righteousness, but heard a cry. The epistle reading today is from Hebrews chapters 11 and 12. By faith, the people passed through the Red Sea as if it were dry land, but when the Egyptians attempted to do so, they were drowned. By faith, the walls of Jericho fell after they had been encircled for 7 days. By faith, Rahab the prostitute did not perish with those who were disobedient, because she had received the spies in peace. And what more should I say? For time would fail me to tell of Gideon, Barak, Samson, Jephthah, of David and Samuel, and the prophets, who through faith conquered kingdoms, administered justice, obtained promises, shut the mouths of lions, quenching raging fire, escaped the edge of the sword, won strength out of weakness, became mighty in war, put foreign armies to flight. Women received their dead by resurrection. Others were tortured, refusing to accept release in order to obtain a better resurrection. Others suffered mocking and flogging, and even chains and imprisonment. They were stoned to death, they were sawn in two, they were killed by the sword. They went about in skins of sheep and goats, destitute, persecuted, tormented, of whom the world was not worthy. They wandered in the deserts and mountains, and in caves and in holes in the ground. Yet all these, even they, though they were commended for their faith, did not receive what was promised, since God had provided something better, so that they would not, apart from us, be made perfect. Therefore, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us also lay aside every weight and the sin that clings so closely, and let us run with perseverance the race that is set before us, looking to Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of our faith, for who the sake of the joy that was set before him endured the cross, disregarding its shame, and has taken his seat at the right hand of the throne of God. The gospel today is from Luke chapter 12. I came to bring fire to the earth, how I wish it were already kindled. I have a baptism with which to be baptized, and what stress I am under until it is completed. Do you think that I have come to bring peace on earth? No, I tell you, but rather division. From now on, 5 in one household will be divided, 3 against 2, 2 against 3. They will be divided. Father against son, and son against father. Mother against daughter, and daughter against mother. Mother-in-law against her daughter-in-law, and daughter-in-law against mother-in-law. He also said to the crowd, when you see a cloud rising in the west, you immediately say, it's going to rain. And so it happened. And when you see the south wind blowing, you say, there will be scorching heat. And it happens. You hypocrites! You know how to interpret the appearance of earth and sky, but why do you not know how to interpret the present time? And those are readings.
What more is there to do in my vineyard than I have already done? Where are my grapes? Are we wild grapes or are we sweet grapes? Depends on the day. I like that answer, whoever said that. You make wine. You want wild grapes or you want sweet grapes? Sweet ones work better, don't they? Sweet, yeah. Those sour ones don't taste so good, do they? God blesses us. If you listen to all of what Isaiah is saying, this song that he has, God went in, he cleared the land, he picked the rock, he put up a hedge, a wall, creates a vat in the center, and plants it, waters it, gives it everything it needs, and then he gets sour grapes. Anybody here have sour grapes? Complaints? Wine of the kind we don't want, right? We add the H to it. We've got this list of things that are wrong with our worlds. A list of things that we want changed about our spouses, that we wish we had in life. Right? A bigger boat, better car, bigger house. Some of us are trying to get to a smaller house so we don't have to clean as much. Some of us are just trying to get to that next spot. How many people have ever heard the phrase, I was truly angry that I didn't have shoes until I met a man who had no feet? You know what we don't do anymore? Hey, Lori, how you doing? What's going on in your world? That's what we don't do anymore. We don't stop at the question and listen. We don't find out what's going on. Lori looks like she's pretty happy. That may not be the case. Because I saw Tony earlier and he's not here now. Oh, he's back there. He's running PowerPoint. I'm sorry. He's here. I'm sorry, Tony. I don't look in the booth very often. It runs itself. That's the other thing we don't do. Right? We don't look. We don't listen. We don't do the tough things of love. We don't pick the rock anymore ourselves. We got machines that do it. We don't go out clear the field. There's somebody that'll do that for us. And then when the prices get too high, oh, wait a second here. Look what they want per pound for this. Look what they want for that. Oh, they don't need all that money. What's a brand new tractor cost these days? $200,000. That's almost as much as I paid for my house. For something that's going to break down shortly. Right? That's what they got you. The tough stuff in love, we don't do, even in our own households, right? How hard is it to smile and listen to your better half complain? Sweetheart, how hard is that? How hard is it to day in and day out do the work that we have to do in the house? It's difficult. Those daily chores that just grind the daylights out of us. And then we get mad because the other one isn't doing their share. And yet God creates all of this and blesses us. And we complain. We whine. And then get upset when God says, okay, you think it's so rough? Go on your own. How many people have done that to an 18-year-old getting ready to get out of the house? Think you're so smart? Go ahead. When did mom and dad do that to you? They never did it. You're still there. Come on! Well, then you really got it nice. They picked the rock. They got the field ready. You ever want to move out? No. Yeah? Go on for a while. That tough love goes hard to give, isn't it? to look at somebody and say, well, you think you got it bad, I'm going to let you fall. And yet God does that. He looks at Israel and Judah and says, you know what? I have done everything I can to produce good grapes. And yet, how many people here struggle with feeling like they're getting something done in their faith life? You struggle with that whole idea of, I go on Sundays and, we worship and I listen to the message and I take something out of it. Oh, there's something missing. What's missing? Oh. How about your marriages? In your families? There's just something missing. I can't put my finger on it. One of the problems we have is we've become Israel and Judah. Things are pretty good, right? Life isn't all that bad. Anybody here going to miss a meal today because they can't have it? Got fuel in the car? I saw a lot of them pull in. I didn't see anybody walk over. Right? A lot of pretty nice vehicles out there. Roof over your head tonight? Loved ones? Maybe somebody you need to call up and even though they wronged you, be the bigger person and make the call, show some love. God's blessed us. And it's hard to make those tough choices in life and love. To be the bigger person, right? And yet that's exactly what God calls us to do. To be the bigger person, to make the tough choice. I love reading the epistle today. The faith of the past. I don't know that anybody was any more faithful, but times are harder. They had to rely a little bit more on God. How many people remember when people actually prayed that it wouldn't rain so they could get the crops out? Because if they didn't get the crops out, they were going to lose the farm. They'd have prayers. They'd have vigils in churches for good weather. They had whole services where we would bless the crops. When's the last time you saw a crop blessing? Has God changed? God doesn't help us out like that? Oh, but that would mean we're going to do a harvest blessing. It'll be at 5 o'clock tonight. How many are showing up? 1, 2, 3. Why? Well, that's more church. That's a lot of church in one day. Isn't it? And then I'm going to come here and I'm going to have blessed crops and a harvest? Well, what good is that really going to do? I mean, it's not going to change my world, right? Well, I don't know about that. Anybody here buy vegetables lately? They're a little pricey. We had a good crop. What do we know? Supply and demand, right? Prices go down. But that would be more time out of our day than something that might be frivolous. I don't know that God is going to change anything. How many people here have seen prayer work? Well, look at the answer. How many people here have prayed and just felt that sense of peace that comes over you? Suddenly, it's not as big a burden. Somebody else is taking on some of the work. But we have to step up, right? You have to actually take the chance and pray. You have to have faith. We call ourselves Christians, right? It means we follow Christ. This day and age is pretty easy, isn't it? Anybody here afraid they're going to get arrested when they walk out the door? Thrown in prison? Stoned? Sawn in half? We don't have to worry about that here, do we? In fact, we don't even have to worry whether or not we come, because whether I'm there or not, does it really make a difference? If I don't make the choice to go, it's not a big deal this Sunday. I can miss a few. What do we know about missing a few? Anybody ever cheat on their diet? What do we know after we have one piece of cake? Next day, we'll have 2 pieces of cake, one with lunch and with supper, right? And pretty soon we're back to eating a whole plate. Then we go back for seconds, and suddenly we begin to expand. And we wonder why. Because we're not practicing. We're not disciplined. We're not making the choice. And the same thing happens with faith. When you get out of practice, what do we know about when you get a little bit bigger? Is it easier or harder to go out and exercise when you get a little bit more round? Harder. A lot easier to sit on that sofa, watch another show. And God calls us to be faithful, to make the tough choice, to do the chores. Sit down and think of what difference there would be if you had to worry about walking out of here today and being arrested. Would you come next Sunday? If there was a chance that you would be stoned for having come? That they might arrest you and saw you in half? That everybody in town might know you were a Christian and make fun of you for it? How much harder would it be to be here on Sunday morning? Now let's talk about that gospel for a second. That gospel is pretty harsh today, isn't it? Do you think that I came to bring peace? No. I came to bring division. Father will be against son, and son against father, daughter against mother, and mother against daughter, daughter-in-law against mother-in-law. Now, that doesn't sound like the God we talk about normally, does it? We're in the what with Christ? What denomination is it? United Church of Christ. Right? And Jesus says, I'm going to bring division. Why is that? What is the division he's talking about? You have to make a choice, right? As I'm sitting with my family, if my family has chosen not to love the unlovable, and I choose to be faithful to Christ, and to stand up and say, that's not right, is it going to cause a little bit of a division and rift in the household? Not going to be so much fun to be there, right? What are the 2 things you don't talk about at Christmas dinner? Religion and politics, right? Why? Because it divides. Because people make a choice. And when you make that choice to be faithful, sometimes it gets uncomfortable. It's tough. And God calls us to love. And sometimes that love means letting them fall on their face, doesn't it? I can't imagine what my parents went through for the years before I decided to quit drinking. How hard that must have been to watch me walk into the same wall over and over and over again and fall out the fellowship. And how hard it must have been for them to finally look at me and say, you know what? I'm more than willing to help you when you're ready to stop this. tough love. How hard that must have been to cut those shirt tails from a child that they loved. They loved so much that they were willing to be faithful to what God called them. Was I going to get better without it? But I had to make a choice too, didn't I? And they had to let me make that choice. And God does that. God looks at us and says, I've given you everything you need. You got the Xbox. You got the tablet. You got the phone. What more do you need? A Nintendo. Who here needs a Nintendo? Who here needs a better car? Needs to have less arguments in their house. Really? There's nobody in this room that needs less arguments in their house? We're done. Let's go home. My job's over. Who here just needs to feel loved? See, if you don't make the choice to actually follow the Christian faith, it's awful hard to get the rewards, isn't it? Can I pick on you for a second? Roger? If I come to the bank and I want a loan, but I haven't paid on any of my other loans, are you going to give me a loan? No! If I paid on my other loans, but I want too much, you're going to give me it? No. If it looks like I may not be able to pay it back? No. It looks like I'm not getting a loan. Right? And yet God chooses to be faithful when we come and we ask. Chooses to be gracious. Say, it's more than you need, but here you go. I know you messed up with the last 20 things I've given you, but we'll try it again. But you can't get there unless what? You go to the bank. I'm never going to know if Roger's going to give me the loan unless I go and ask, right? I could sit here and complain about it. Well, you know about those bankers. They're all the same way. They're tight. They won't give you a dime. They won't even help you. In fact, if you get in trouble, they're just waiting. Haven't you ever seen them with their pitchforks? They stand and they dance around the goats, waiting for you to miss a payment so they can take it. Is that true? How many people have received leniency, even from human beings, when they didn't deserve it? I've never seen Roger running around with a pitchfork. I'm going to guess there's not a secret vault in the bank where they have their goats all lined up so they can dance around them. And if they're willing to be that generous, do they have to give out money? No. Do they have to be gracious and compassionate? When you've come in and you've signed a contract, you got your folks. Did you sign a contract with God? No, you didn't sign one, did you? You like taking that title of Christian? Do you like the benefits you get from having faith? From having a God stand over? Are you willing to do the tough work? Just recently heard an analogy, and I want to use this, and I want people to seriously give thought to this, because we're going to start talking more about what we do as church. The analogy is this. A church is like a ship. The question is, what type of ship are you in? Are you on a cruise ship? Or are you on a battleship? And which type do you want to be on? Now let me tell you the difference between the two. A battleship, not sure who Lowell was. How do you sleep on a ship? One right above the other, right? Stacked in like sardines, 3 high. And you hope you weren't the one on the bottom. Right? Stacked 3 high. How was the food on ship? It was good. It was adequate. It wasn't like going to the Phoenix for steak, though, right? No. Well, what about the showers? Were those always comfortable? Yeah. Short? And you always had the most comfortable uniforms, too, right? Well, those were always fun to be in. And your job was never warm. It was always comfortable. Never had to work over the hard. Never had to work more hours than you were supposed to. There's a battleship, folks. What's a battleship out there doing? It's running the mission. Now, a cruise ship is a little bit different. A cruise ship is worried about what? The comfort and the joy of everybody that's on it. I had a good friend that worked on a cruise ship, though. Do you want to know who they don't care about on a cruise ship? The employee, the worker. But we want to make sure that there are absolutely no complaints. So what may we do for you here that will make life better? How can we make church more comfortable for you? What can we say that will make you feel better about yourself? What do we need in church that's going to make this an easier place for us to show up on Sunday morning? Do we want to be a cruise ship? Or do we want to be a battleship? Do we want to be out there doing the mission of God? Or do we want to make sure you guys are comfy? Now, that's not saying we want to make you uncomfortable or unhealthy, right? They did feed him. They gave him a job. They tried to keep him safe. They gave him rules so that, he wouldn't hurt himself. We don't want you to be miserable. But are we worried about the comforts? Or did we sign a contract to do the mission and the work of God? To do the tough work. To do the tough work of love. Or are we going to be a bunch of sour grapes? This is the one time I want you to get plump, folks. This is the one time I want you to be sweeter than sweet. This is the one time you're going to see the recovering alcoholic say, we need more wine in church. And the wine without the H in it. Good wine. Celebratory wine. Wine that when people walk in, realize that we are excited and celebrating the work that God does in and through this family. And the tough love that God has shown along the way that raises us up to do the tough work that true love is. As you walk away today, make a decision. First off, I want you to decide, do you want to be on a cruise ship or a battleship? Okay? And then make the decision. I want you to recommit your daily life to your faith. To recommit to doing the tough work, to getting your hands dirty, to getting down on your hands and knees and scrubbing the floors. Right? How many ladies remember when you didn't have the nice mops? When you got down on your hands and knees and scrubbed the floor twice a day? When you had the kids in the house, right? None of you did that? Not twice a day? Okay. How many people remember when you had to go out and pick rock by hand? How many of you had that job? I watch you walk, I know. How many of you wish that hard work still existed? realize how disciplined it made you. Notice how we're getting bigger? That hard work is gone, isn't it? Do the spiritual work, you'll get the spiritual rewards. Make the commitment. Make the choice today to do the tough work of love. Because that was the beauty of what Jesus was talking about. The reward is there. But can you receive it without doing the work? Just because I go to McDonald's doesn't make me a Big Mac. Right? We've all heard that phrase before. We have to make the choice. Commit. And then you get on that battleship and run the mission at all costs. Amen.